Hello YouTube and hello to all you pipers out there. In today's video I would like to discuss two tobaccos from the Jensen Legacy collection, and the first one is, and that is the one I will smoke today, is the King's Watch, and the second one, which I smoked and introduced in a German video recently, is the Port Guardian. They are both part of a series of 4. You all know that we have the Harbor Dreams and the Brothers in Arms. From these series I was immediately interested in 3 when this tobacco series was released. It was introduced in some US reviews, and immediately I said, yeah, the King's Watch, the Port Guardian and the Harbor Dreams, that might be something for me. The Brothers in Arms, I said, that one might be too strong, too rich for me, and I'd rather give that a miss. However, that should not mean that this is a bad tobacco. I know that a lot of you like it and enjoy it. Simply, that is not one for me. That's all I want to say. So, getting into it, so we have here today the King's Watch. That's a pure Virginia with some citrus vibe and fruity vibe. Can't really say exactly if it's citrus, but definitely it's fruity. And if I open the tin and take a sniff, it's definitely fruity, no doubt about it. And it has this, looks like this interesting texture. So yeah, klumpen like this. So this seems to be like pressed flakes and then cut in this shape. Lovely. From the smell, concerning the smell, I just close the tin quickly so that the moisture is not gone. Yeah, and I smoked this tobacco a few times, not that much. I've smoked the Port Guardian. This is a plug, also very fruity. To me it appears to be like the vibe of figs, interesting enough. However, this one I did not smoke that much. However, I learned that Virginia of course has to be smoked slowly and with care, and of course I did that as a pipe smoker with some experience. Nevertheless, the first time it gave me tongue bite, terrible tongue bite like hell. So I do it very carefully today, and for that reason, and although the first time I smoked it, I used a P-lip, I used a 9mm filter, I had filter crystals in the bowl and smoked slow, and I said, damn, that burns like hell. So today I do it again with all care and to be prepared appropriately. I smoke it today in my Pfauen. This is not a Peterson, this is a Pfauen pipe. This is a Pfauen Chianti, and you see here it has a P-lip. Sometimes Pfauen really makes releases with P-lips, and that is the series which came out last year, in the fall last year. And this Pfauen Chianti is delivered. You can choose whether you want to have a standard mouthpiece or a P-lip mouthpiece, and if a P-lip is available, I go for it, definitely. Yeah, this is a very nice sandblasted version. You can also have plain versions, and the tobacco is of course already in. I really stuffed it and took the scissors and cut it to an appropriate length, and then stuffed it in simply as they are. And yeah, there are some filter crystals in the bottom of this bowl, 9mm filter P-lip, and we're gonna smoke this now real slow. Let's give it a go. Yes, I had it recently in the Pipe Club, and other chap from the Pipe Club was interested to try this, and I said, yeah, of course, go for it, but take care. This one really provokes tongue bite, at least for me. And he tried it and said, yeah, indeed, and he's very experienced, even more experienced than I am. He said, "Oh yes, you must be really, really slow. Fellow pipers, ultra slow, really to enjoy it. Otherwise, it doesn't make any sense." Yes, and I get a nice sweetness, a little fruitiness, and I enjoy in particular the retrohale of it. It is from the quality of the tobacco, of course, in the higher class. You see, I'm very, very careful, because last time I had it, I had to wait 2 days before I could smoke a pipe again. So much damage it did to my tongue. So today we have a little coffee together with it. Yes, and Vauern makes P-lip stems from acrylic, so it doesn't have to be ebonite all the time, or vulcanite, or whatever you call that. No, wait, Matthias, not too greedy. You know you're gonna suffer then? You see how careful I am. Yeah, from the nicotine it is not at all strong, so from that aspect I can bear it very easy. Yeah, it is really tasty, it's good, as you can expect from a good class Virginia. And so there is no need to complain about it. Maybe if I try it more often in different pipes, I might grow better into it, but for the moment I must be very, very careful. And so to come to a conclusion, at least for me, yes, this pipe must be, and not this pipe, this tobacco must be explored and tested more. However, the taste does not really disappoint, it's good. Do I need it permanently in my tobacco bar? No, because we have more affordable alternatives for that. And I always speak of alternatives because I never dare to say that there is an identical tobacco. No, I would not say that. But good alternatives giving me a similar smoking, or even better from the tongue bite perspective, a better smoking experience. Coming to the other one, whereas the Port Guardian is giving me something very different. It gives me also a nice Virginia taste, and it's also a straight Virginia. No Perique in there, although there were some speculations in the German YouTube pipe community if there is Perique, but there is not. And this one is a plug, and when I take a sniff of that plug, I have instantly the feeling of having fresh, no, not fresh, dried, really dried, sweet figs. That's what I get in the sniff of this tobacco, of this plug. And this one is for me more pleasurable because I get a similar smoking experience without having terrible tongue bite. So this is for me also now easier to bear. Also, that the taste is nice. It's the fine Virginia with a little sweetness, a little less than the King's Watch probably, but it doesn't give me that tongue bite. That's the reason why I currently prefer the Port Guardian. It's really a good one, also from the quality, very good tobacco, and the same question is, do I need it? Again, no. There is also for that one we have good alternatives. However, that is something which, what I can say. I will smoke this tin with a lot of pleasure, and I might consider one day to buy another one. With the King's Watch, I rather don't think that. No, je ne pense pas. So, another sip of coffee. Yeah, and with that being said, I want to surprise you probably with some ramble. I would like to talk about my experience that I had in North America, and especially in today's video in the United States, where I stayed in July 2012. In the first half of 2012, I had a project, I had an assignment in Ireland, and after that was finished, we were a team of specialists, were invited to visit North America, 3 countries in 1 week. Starting in Canada, going on to the States, and the final station was then Mexico City, and from there home, and that's all in 1 week. So from Sunday, early in the morning, we were flying from Frankfurt, I think it was Montreal, and had our assignment in Canada. We stayed there, I think for 2 days, and then we went on to the United States, and we came to the airport of Chicago, and we didn't stay long there because we had to move on with a bus to Milwaukee, where we had our second assignment. And I would like to talk a little bit about that, what I have found in Milwaukee and on the bus tour. Yeah, I never taken a bus in the United States, so it was a new experience for me. And we had several stops there. And the most interesting was for me, there was one stop which was called the Brat stop. So you might think, well, what is so extraordinary about that? Because for a German, braten means to fry. And if I read Bratstop, and all my companions had the same impression, Bratstops, we were all thinking of fried German sausages might be served there. And yeah, it was not, these were not the Bratwürstchen from Nuremberg or Thüringen, as we know that. We didn't expect that, but I said, it's seductive. Maybe we get good German bratwurst there. But we didn't. So that was the Bratstop, and it was such an imprint that I still remember that today. Yeah. So from your perspective, maybe nothing to mention, but hearing a word can have different associations depending where you come from. After that, we were moving on to Milwaukee, and we went to the company, and we had our discussions and negotiations. They gave us a tour in the factory, in the workshop, and we could see their production. It was all very fine. And in the evening, stayed in the hotel. And after some refreshment, there was a very polite lady. She took me to a shop, and the shop name was, what was it? I still have the receipt here. GameStop Crossroads Shopping. Because I have discussed with her in advance that I really like to play PlayStation games, and you see that there are a lot of releases that never made it to Europe, and so I was really interested to buy PlayStation 2 US release. And she said to me, yeah, there is a shop not far away, and I can take you there. So after having some refreshment in the hotel, I was really looking forward to go to that shop and to purchase the used PlayStation 2. And here it is. I prepared it for today. Yeah. that's my US version of the PlayStation 2, together with this particular cable, which is typical for the States, but we can't use this as it is here in Europe. If I run it, I use a converter which converts not only the cable, so the plug, but also the electricity to a frequency which is appropriate here. Yeah, and I was happy to go there, and I still have the receipt here. You see that? And I still can read it. It was, what is it? Country Line Road, Menominee Falls, Wisconsin, I think. Yeah. And it was Patrick who served me. And I said to him at the checkout, "You made a German man happy." And he smiled and he said, "Okay, if I could be of help." Of course, he could not know that I told him a lot of releases do not make it to Europe, so I'm very, very happy to get my hands on such a device. And he could not know that how much it meant to me. Or maybe he got it. Don't know. So if you're asking me, Matthias, is there anything special that you have in your treasure box? Yes, this PlayStation 2 from the United States. The next morning I had a very interesting breakfast in the hotel. Interesting in the sense that it was unusual for a German fellow, or at least unusual for me. But bread and peanut butter and yeah, interesting bread. At least there were some fried eggs. But I do not complain. It was okay, and I survived. I survived. Then we went on the bus again because we had to go back to Chicago to get our next flight. In Chicago, we checked in and we were in the lounge sitting waiting for the call, and then the weather made it impossible to go on. I said, "Oops, what shall we do now?" So we were compelled to stay longer than we have planned. We had a very tight schedule. We wanted to go to Mexico because we wanted to see their workshop factory also, but it was not possible, and we had to stay in Chicago a day longer. Yeah, so we went to a hotel very close to the airport where we had a marvelous dinner. It was really a marvelous dinner, I must say. And then my companions decided to explore the city. I did not do that, not because it's probably not interesting. It may be interesting, but the point is I had to suffer the jet lag and I was too tired, and I wanted to focus on my assignment rather than being a tourist in Chicago. At that time I was not a pipe smoker, so anyway I had not the idea even at that time to visit Chicago Pipe Show or something like that. By the way, the Chicago Pipe Show is earlier than July, as I have learned recently. So very early the next morning, our flight was rebooked, our luggage was gone, and yes, what to do now? So we took the flight to Mexico City, and checking is the luggage there? It wasn't. So, and we had to reschedule because we have lost one day, and then we gave the factory tour a miss, and then discussed what we had to discuss at Mexico City Airport in a boardroom somewhere there, which they have rented. And then very late in the evening we took back the flight to Frankfurt. It was Mexico City time, it was 9 o'clock in the evening, and then I came, it was Friday evening, and I arrived in Frankfurt the next day at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Still my luggage was not found, so okay, I gave my address and say, "Send it there if you find it," because my PlayStation wasn't there. That would have been terrible. So I took a taxi home, and I desperately wanted to stay awake at least till 6 o'clock in the evening, and guess what? I didn't make it. I was too tired. I was really too tired. Yeah. So it was an interesting experience. And that was the one and only time I was in North America and in the States. Never had the necessity to go there again for a project. And yeah, I was aware that it is necessary to consider different styles of conversation, different mindsets, even though the people over there also have a Western attitude. There are differences, and in a sense that there are some things which are okay there and wrong in Germany, and vice versa. And it's really necessary to study that before, if you don't want to go into a diplomatic trap. Professional diplomats are doing that all the time. That's the reason why they and it's their job to avoid these things. And I learned a few things that I would not do over there, which I can do here, and I think people from America are quite astonished of the things, or some things that we do here. Yeah. So that was my experience so far with this King's Watch. I have to give it some more time, I admit. The Port Guardian, love it, and I might give this one a second chance with the second tin, because it's really good and not very good, quite mild to my tongue. There is the Harbor Dreams, the chocolate version. Yeah, that's one to try and to test in the fall-winter season. And the Brothers in Arms, I gladly leave to all of you who enjoy it. So, I hope you had some fun with today's ramble, and thank you for your time today, and I hope again to see you in the next video. Goodbye, see you soon.